someone who sits on the same side of the table, someone who helps the client understand, do they or do they not need to make the decision to award the work. Not everybody that has a roof deficiency cares about it. And I know sometimes that's hard to accept, right? Because we go up on roofs, and we're like, man, these roofs are destroyed. They have holes in them and they're just in such horrible condition. They have to do something, right? From a roofer standpoint, it's like you have to do something. Like you got open seams all over this thing, curved corners, cold welds, you name it. But the craziest thing is that there are so many clients that don't do anything. And we're answering that question and we're telling you guys why, right? Because the problem's not big enough. It's checkpoint one. It's what we went through. The problem's not big enough for them to do something about it. Your client's perception is their reality, which means the roof can be complete garbage. There could be a roof that's blown off. And this has truly happened, right? There's been a roof that's just billowing in the wind. The client doesn't even know it. And it's been weeks since a storm has gone through and it's out of sight, out of mind. Their perception is that their ceiling tiles, their walls, the floor, whatever it is that they look at each day, it's absolutely fine. And we got to battle that as sales reps, right? We have to be able to battle that. And what David and I call it is a trusted advisor, someone who sits on the same side of the table and helps the client make the decision based upon the problem that they have, right? Their perception is their reality. It's the problem that they have or the goal that they want to get to. Now, you guys, as professional sales reps, it's awesome because you guys have the solution, right, to be able to fix it. Except checkpoint number two, which we'll go through today, which is, do they actually need a new vendor? Or why don't they just do it themselves? Right? They got a whole bunch of roofing deficiencies up there. Of course they need a roofer until they go to Home Depot and buy the stuff themselves. And then they just start doing everything themselves and like, man, I saved $3,000 because I didn't have to give the work to that roofer because they gave me a proposal for fasteners and sealants and open seams. Whatever it is. It happens every day. It sucks on our side because we're trying to give, right, that real long-term solution. But every day there are customers out there that have roofs that are going back with their old vendors. They're not choosing you as a new opportunity, or they're just doing the work themselves. They see it and it just looks so simple. They're like, you know what? We're just going to do it ourselves. We're going to save the cash. We're going to keep the cash in our pocket. Thank you very much for bidding the work. And all of those things can be disqualified, right? We can find those things early inside the sale. That's kind of the coolest thing I'll say about what David, you and I do is that we're
Yep.
helping to a point to where we're discovering, and even more importantly for me, we're disqualifying. Get that crap. Don't let it even hit your sales funnel if we're able to see those red flags up front. So this isn't rainbows and butterflies and everything else. This is real world. How do we get the best opportunities in our book of business so we can spend our time on what truly matters to be able to close as much as possible, right? Help solve as many problems as possible or help your client get to their goals that they want, as many goals as possible in the same amount of time that you're working right now. And then you guys can make the choice. Once we get more efficient, do you guys want to take that extra time, invest it back into your business and make even more money? That's what you guys got to decide. Or do you want to go fish on Friday? That's your choice. Cool.
Fishing Fridays.
And maybe it's fishing Fridays, and it's fine. If you love fishing on Fridays, that's great. But somebody who's hungrier than you is going to take your client away. Just saying. I was that guy. I've been that guy that waited for it to rain. And as soon as it rained, I would call the client who constantly told me no, and I would get that opportunity and I would be on that roof. And that's all I needed to be able to show that I'm just that little bit better, right? Whether it be the technology, the communication, or just the overall experience. So we grow as a business. Cool. Ready to go, David?
Yeah, ready to go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Let's
Sir,
do it.
yes, sir. All right. Welcome, welcome, guys. This is No Reps Left Behind. If you are joining for the first time here, welcome. This is session number 4. So ultimately, it's about 9 weeks that we go through. Every now and then we might add 5 fatalities or something like that in it to make it fun. But No Reps Left Behind is about raising the floor of the commercial roofing industry. And when I say raise the floor, it means make everybody better. I say it as we kick this off. There is a absolute, I don't know the right word, lie or misconception, right? That like your best salesmen that you guys have are no one could ever be as good as them. And I don't believe that because I've had the opportunity to be able to build $1 million sales reps again and again and again by just using a simple process and helping everyone understand, okay, this guy does great over here, this guy does great over here, and then we can grow as a team. So I'm here to be able to use my 20 years of experience to be able to help you guys get better together. So we all start understanding the questions that we need to ask. We all start understanding the clients or opportunities that we need to disqualify or maybe say goodbye. And that's what No Reps is about. So my name is Chad Westbrook. I'm the founder of Sales Alignment. And if you guys are here, thank you. Thank you. My background has been the commercial roofing industry for just about all of my career. And it's focused specifically in the commercial service side because service really is the incubator to all of the private negotiated work that you'll get. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that when someone makes the choice to replace their roof, 95% of the time they have hit a tolerance in the amount of water or disruption or frustration, whatever it might be, right? Their perception is their reality. But they've hit some kind of tolerance to say, I'm going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on my roof. And that's insane to me that someone can have such a painful experience that they have to spend $250,000 for just a normal roof. So we're in a very, very unique position. My world is commercial roofing. And again, as we kind of roll this out, this is 20 years of what I've done for my career. And David's found a way to be able to put it inside a process and make it so we can roll it out to you guys and duplicate it. And that's been the power of us too. So David, you want to talk a little bit about yourself and your background, sir?
Hey guys, David Bonney, founder of 45. Most of you guys in here know me, but again, guys, my experience is going through the pressure cooker of trying to grow a company and help grow a company that was ultimately valued at $1 billion. And what are the things that need to be put in place for us to exceed um, uh, any type of sales target that we think we were capable of hitting? It's still not good enough. How do we do better? Well, the only way to do better in sales that I've been able to find is, just like Chad said, how do we create a consistent process that we can build on? Playbooks are what we call them. And, you know, I come from I played Division I college basketball. Plays always put us in a position to score. And what I noticed in sales is very quickly, I was out there just playing open gym. And that's what a lot of us are doing. We're out there, we're just doing stuff. We're doing whatever feels right in the moment. We're not leveraging plays that have been built to specifically overcome the things that the defense is going to try to do to keep us from scoring. And that's what we talk about, the 5 fatalities, the 5 reasons why your deals are ultimately going to die. We're taking you guys every week through the process to proactively eliminate those objections before they come up. Because as soon as they do come up, if you allow them to come up and it's an actual objection, all you're doing is trying to get them to change their mind, guys, and it's too late. So, you know, take the 30 plus combined years of experience that Chad and I have had, making all the mistakes, trying stuff, it not working, trying other stuff. It is working. We really want you guys to leverage the 30 plus years there and just be able to shortcut it, really. And again, our goal is for you to be able to push the bounds of what's possible in your role, in your company, for your commission checks, for your family, for all the people that you care about. That's why we're here.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So David said a really, really important part there. And that is understanding, right, what we need to do to be successful. And that's understanding the activities that we need to make, right? Understanding the conversations that need to be had and those things that take us from step 1 to step 4, 5, or whatever it takes, right, for us to be able to get to that end. So this is a choice for you guys. I appreciate you guys being here, but the one thing I always say at the end, I'm going to say at the beginning, you're going to spend 60 minutes with us today, 50 more from where we're at right now. And the only thing that's going to change your guys' life, change your sales or whatever it is you take a part of this and you try it, right? Just try it. Just ask the questions. And yes, it's going to be awkward. Everything new is awkward, but you're going to have to challenge yourself to changing. The definition of insanity is doing the same exact thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And that's what we're here to be able to change, but change with intention, change based upon what David and I are currently executing in the space to be able to get you guys the highest possible return. So what we're going to talk about today is, first off, is what we call the 4D sales process. And the 4D sales process, it means a lot to me because this is a huge integrity side. I was with a company a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that was mentioned was no one likes the word sales. Call them account managers or call them something like that because there's this massive stigma behind the word sales. And sales, at least to this company, meant making somebody buy something they didn't need or making someone ultimately do something they didn't want to do. And like that is the worst stigma we have. But I was told this years and years ago. It was in a sales training, and they said, "Who is your biggest competitor?" And we all started rattling off all the biggest contractors, right? It's like Cinemark, Tech does, da 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 da. And he goes, "No, your biggest competitor is the worst experience that your customer ever had. It's not the second, it's not the third or the fourth. It's the worst experience that they ever had." So when you start thinking about those situations, your customer is protecting themselves to make sure whatever their worst experience is doesn't happen again. And put that inside your mind. Typically, customers don't wake up and try to be jerks. They don't wake up and have these like insane requests, right? That I want somebody out here within 3 hours. They probably made that request because they called someone and they didn't come out for 48 hours. He lost $1 million machine and had to file some massive insurance. I'm just making it up, right? Their perception's reality. So as we go into this 40 sales process, understand this is the integrity side of it, right? Because we start with discovery. When we show up on the discovery side of this, we're not there to be able to basically vomit who we are, how long we've been inside business, and why we're so great. I'm there as open-minded. And we went through this, right? Do they have a problem big enough to act? And they're the only ones that know that. Their perception of reality, right? Their perception is what their reality is. It doesn't matter what we see on the roof. And that's the start of good discovery. The second part of this is diagnosis. So diagnosis goes into, okay, we understand what the client truly sees as their reality right now. Now let's start putting some reality to it. Let's go up on the roof. Let's start doing some analysis of what's on the roof system and what type of different failures, deficiencies, or whatever names we want to use are going to be contributing to what our customer sees. Chances are our customer's not going on the roof. Our customer's down in their business, trying to run their business. It can be manufacturing, warehousing, cold storage. I don't care what it is. They're there to run a business. They're not there to be able to fix a roof. So what we're teaching you guys is ultimately in the diagnosis stage that you got to connect two things. Number one is the condition of the roof, and number two is the owner's reality. And we call that the wall of disconnect because ultimately typical sales reps are trying to sell roofing repairs, and the client just wants his ceiling tiles to stop getting stained. And there becomes this wall of disconnect where you're trying to sell roofing repairs. He's just trying to get this repaired. And that's what we're going to be going in today is the demonstration side. And demonstration is about positioning yourself as a trusted advisor. And like I said at the beginning of this, a trusted advisor is someone who sits on the same side of the table. You both have the same goal, that we both know the roof needs to be replaced because all of the assets in the building are getting destroyed. We're on the same page. You both are solving the same problem. You both are going to be at the same finish line at the same time. And that's where demonstration comes in. And that's what we're going to talk a lot about today. But the reason we do all of this is to be able to help the client have a clear and confident path to make a decision. And that decision does not always have to be me. The first thing, way before they choose that I'm the right vendor for them, is they have to understand that problem is big enough for them to act. Right? They have a problem big enough that they need to do something about it. The second one is that do they actually need newer outside services? You had a roofer that you worked with for 5 years. That's wonderful. Why are you looking for someone new? What are you not getting from that guy that's making you search elsewhere? Or why don't you just go do it yourself? It's just faster than sealant, dude. Head up there. And I've shared stories about why or why not certain companies can do that. We're here to be able to help the client make a decision, right? By understanding their perception of reality. What is the problem that they have that they want to fix, right? What's the goal that they have they want to get to? And then how do we help with that gap, right? That gap in between where their current reality is and where they want it to be. It's a huge, huge part of it. So all of these three connect: discovery, diagnosis, demonstration. It drives your client to a decision. And at the same point, it helps you make a decision, because the only thing you guys have is time, energy, and your company's money for the most part. So time and energy, they're super hard to get back, and they're even harder to be able to replenish, right? Don't waste all your energy on bad leads. Don't waste all of your time on bad leads. because there is something called golden hours, which is your clients in the office. And if you spend it chasing people that don't even want to talk to you, you're going to end up with zero at the end of the week. Work with people who want to work with you. And that's what we're going to be going through today. Dave, you want to take us through this, sir?
Yeah. So these are the 3 buyer checkpoints, guys. Again, if there's anything we want you to take away from this, is get these memorized. These are the 3 areas of clarification and qualification that you need to be able to gain an understanding of. And that's the whole basis of the questions that we ask here, is just to figure out these 3 things. And you can do this openly. This is not something that you're doing in the background and you're hiding from your prospect. You're partnering with them. We talk about you guys being a trusted advisor. Well, the way to be a trusted advisor is to be on the same side of the table with them. Help them figure out if this is actually painful enough that they need to take action on. Checkpoint 1. If it is not painful enough that they need to take action on, nothing else matters. Everybody is wasting their time. You deal with thousands of leaks, thousands of them. They only deal with a handful. You're the expert. Your ability to be able to get in there, talk through it, and be able to, if necessary, say, it doesn't really sound like this is a huge priority for you guys right now. Should we revisit this in a couple of months? Is the best way to gain their trust and maintain that you guys are on the same side of the table, and that they will ultimately end up wanting to work with you when they do ultimately need to take action on it. Now,
So Dave, real quick, I will tell you, I sent this email today. Just like you guys, I'm growing a business, right? You guys have your own business that you're growing, right? I have mine. I truly sent this email today to a client that I had an amazing relationship, amazing conversation. It's like, dude, this guy is like aligned to exactly what we want to do. He went silent, right? And I sent the email today. I said, it doesn't seem like this problem is big enough for you to be able to do something about it right now or to focus on. Let me know when it is. And I made that choice, right? We talk about time, energy, and money. I made my choice right now to be able to say my time and energy is best suited somewhere else, because I feel that I've exhausted enough time and energy trying to re-engage him, right? Where I've made that choice. So I just want to tell you, this is a part of life, guys, understanding that if the problem's not big enough, they're not going to want change. I don't care how crappy the roof is, how many leaks they have, or what you see in your world. The only thing that matters is theirs. I'm sorry to interrupt you, David.
great. Yeah, because only the priorities are they only have enough time, energy, and money to spend on a finite number of problems. They can't solve all their problems. And either this raises to the level of the top 3 to 5 problems that they're actually going to spend resources on, or it doesn't. And it's okay to call a spade if not. You have bigger problems, you have bigger fish to fry. That's fine. When this becomes an issue, we're here. But you got to go through the process of unpacking what is the worst thing that's going to happen. You got to help them get clear on the pain that is either existing today or will be existing if they don't do something about this, to actually allow them to answer that question effectively. And that's what we went through that set in our 2 sessions ago. Last week, we went through how do we figure out if they do need to take action, do they actually need new or outside help? And this is the silent killer, guys. This is the one that you don't ever know that this is happening, but they threw your proposal over to their existing vendor, or they gave it to their maintenance guy, or they just decided to say, you know what, we're not going to go spend eight grand on this leak. Can you just go up there and duct tape and we'll just deal with it for now? This is the silent killer. See, we've got to understand why is this problem not fixed yet? Why are their resources not adequate, which is causing them to want to talk to you? And if we can understand that gap in their existing resources and the outcomes that they want to achieve and their ability to solve their problems, if we can understand that, then they'll better understand that. And they're not going to keep going back to that well thinking that they're going to get a different result. Okay. We went through that last questions that we need to ask to effectively understand if their existing resources are adequate or not. And we tell you guys all the time, if they already have an existing vendor and they're just requiring bids, it's up to you. If you want to shoot over a throwaway bid, that's fine. But you're doing that consciously, knowing that that's not in your pipeline. You're doing that to get your foot in the door and further the conversation, but you're not counting that in your pipeline of actual quotes that have a chance of closing. Now, if they do need to take action and they actually do need outside help, now we can clear the way and figure out if we have the best solution. But so often, guys, you guys are out there pitching your proposal. They don't even know if they're going to take action on it yet. They're not even paying attention, really. Do we really need to do this? God, I wonder how expensive this is. I don't know if we need to do this. You're pitching your proposal. Yeah, can our guys just do this? God, it seems like these guys are overcomplicating it. Can't we just get Bob to get up there again and see if he can take a look at this? Because you haven't counseled these things out. We say it all the time. Great presentations are set up by good discovery diagnosis. Don't just think you're going to go out there and wax poetic, guys. Not the way it works. Okay. Now, if those are figured out, then we can have a conversation about you're going to take action. You're going to take action with an outside solution. Are we the best solution out there? And we have a very distinct way of formulating our proposal that's very different than everybody. That will create differentiation and clarity to the prospect that you know what they're looking for. And then that's how we drive them to either a heck yes or a no. No maybes. Maybes are killing so many of your deals, guys. Yes or no, I need to take action. Yes or no, I need outside help. Yes or no, we have the best solution. We're driving them to that decision. We're not creating a high pressure environment. We do it very methodically, and it gets an answer. It gets a decision either way, so you can continue to move on with your prospecting activities in your pipeline.
Absolutely. So the one thing I'll talk about real quick before we go into that confirmation close is that I want this to be interactive. So you guys can be watching in a few different ways, right? If you're on social media, that kind of different stuff, cool. Throw some stuff in the comments. David and I obviously post live. We can record and get involved inside this. But if you guys are on the Zoom side, ask questions. We're here. I like this. I don't like this. I agree with this. I don't agree with this. You're getting a constantly evolved sales process. And the reason I say constantly evolved is because it doesn't matter what me and David think. What matters is how our clients interact, right? What they see, how they interact. And a massive, massive part of what we're dealing with right now is getting through the noise. We talked about, having the best solution. You shouldn't have to deal with objections after you deliver the proposal. That's the scariest thing, because that means your customer still has questions about what your solution brings to the table. That should not be the fact when you guys deliver a solution. There should be all questions should be done and answered, and the only decision they need to make is the proposal that they're going to sign, not how long is this project going to take, how many days is here, how long does it take to load, whatever it might be, right? Those should not be questions. So if you're getting those questions, that means we're not doing good enough discovery, diagnosis, and demonstration, because your customer is not fully understanding what you're bringing to the table. Now, the confirmation close is something that I very, very rarely see happening within our sales side. And I put it this way because we do all of this great work, all of these questions that we asked and we're training you guys on doing, but we very rarely go back and recap. There have been so many situations, and I bring up a couple that just come top of mind, of a project that I bid in Indianapolis. It was a restaurant, and I went in and I had a great conversation. We gave the bid for the roof replacement. It was small as a restaurant. It was like $46,000. And I get a call from the general contractor who says, "Hey, I got another bid that's drastically lower than you." I said, "Okay, talk to me." He goes, "Well, it's $26,000. I was like 46. It was like half price. And I'm just going through my head. It's like, I can't even buy materials for that. And the reason that happens, not all the time, but most of the time, is that something changed from the time that I originally spoke to the customer to the time they got all of their proposals in their hands, or they got to a point where they thought they were confident enough, maybe on a scope of work. Or even worse than that, your customer's just confused and they don't understand the difference between a 20-year NDL 60 mil TPO system and a 10-year 45 mil EPDM system mechanically attached. They don't know that. They're not roofing professionals. So a lot of times they just get confused. So if you guys don't go through a confirmation close and truly understand the problem that you're solving and what's most important to your customer, you're delivering a proposal based on the time that you first met with them, which at best case is weeks, at worst case could be months. Months. I have had so many situations where someone comes in with a foam coating system. I'm getting ready to rip this whole thing off, right down to the deck, put a whole new system on it, and someone comes back with a liquid membrane or a foam coating because it doesn't count as a third system, and it's a third of the price. Customer always sees his price. He's not an expert inside roofing. So I'm telling you guys all of these examples because I hope that this relates to you. It's like, yeah, I did lose a job like that because it's happening every single day. And it's because we're not doing confirmation closes. We're not going back in there and we're talking about the priority level. Okay. Let's talk about this. When we first met, you said that the priority level was a 9. You said there really wasn't much more important for you other than getting this roof fixed. Is that still the case? Go back, recap that information, make sure it's the same. Make sure that 2 of the HVAC units didn't just break and we're sitting inside June right now with an entire warehouse full of people that are hot. Trust me, that will go to the top of the priority list really quick. Ask those questions. Is the priority still there? Then you go into your next one, the ability level. Did anything change between now and then? Right? Ask the question. Part of being able to understand, do they need a new resource or are they going to do it themselves? I know you guys said that you really didn't have any way to be able to complete this work. Are you still kind of in that world? Has anything changed? Well, I looked at the proposal, I looked at what was going on. He kind of talked about it. We might, we probably have the ability to do that. Can they clean their own gutters out? How many of us have service proposals that have gutter cleanings in there? Pretty much anybody that can head up on a roof can probably go and clean out gutters. Now, the question is, will they? And that's where we're talking about that ability level, right? Talk about those questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions because the questions that you don't ask are the ones that'll kill the deal. Finally, I'm going to drop down. And again, I'll stay up top, priority level, ability level. We're recapping, right? That's checkpoint 1, that's checkpoint 2. And we're making sure that nothing changed. That is so important. Do not pass go. Do not deliver the proposal. Do not put anything inside their hands if something has changed. If another contractor showed up, gave them another option, they hired someone new, their boss just got replaced, so now there's a whole different side. I've heard it all, guys, and I've been through it all. Ask the questions and figure it out. Once we know that the priority and ability level are aligned, right, and nothing crazy has changed, it comes down to 3 questions that we need to ask. Number 1, is everyone still aligned to the problems that we're looking to solve? And are you clear on how we specifically solve them? And this is a really, really important question because I'm not just another roofing contractor, right? Because if I was, you might as well just commoditize me, buy on the lowest dollar. What makes you guys unique? Why am I going to work specifically with you when I got 2 other bids here? And you know what? Both of them might be cheaper than you. Have you done anything to be able to differentiate yourself? Do you understand what their end goal is better than maybe the other contractors? Or do you actually understand that it's not about the roof? That it's about keeping the dining room open, or it's about whatever the problem that's keeping them from more important things is actually causing. So question 1, is everyone still aligned to the problems that we're looking to solve? And are you guys clear specifically on how we solve them? It is okay if you get a no. Because if you get a no, it's like, yeah, I think so. Okay, let's unpack that. What is it that I can kind of bring to you guys to give you some more confidence and what we're specifically doing, right, to be able to solve this? Now, if you've been inside our other trainings, we've already went through the bigger problem, right? It's not just a roof leak. It's water trapped within the system that's reducing the R value by up to 50%, which means it could cost you more to heat and cool this building. I made that one up. It's true, but like that was just an example. But there's a larger issue. There's a larger issue than water on the floor. It's a slip fall hazard. It's damaged product. What's the problem that we're actually solving? Number 2, is everyone still aligned to the expected outcomes if we were to solve this? Which means, is the ROI sufficient? ROI is return on investment. That means that they're going to spend $1,000 and what are they going to get? I talked about those French fry, the cardboard company that I was at that made the French fry containers. Each one of those cardboard things they said was worth 20,000 bucks. So are you willing to spend $1,000 to fix the skylight so your $20,000 roll of cardboard doesn't get destroyed? Is it worth it? Are we still aligned to that? I'm not fixing a skylight here, guys. I'm protecting the product inside the building. Is that $20,000 asset in the building still important enough to you to spend $1,000 to be able to fix the skylights or whatever it might be, right? That's what I'm asking, return on investment. And return on investment is not the cost of the proposal. Let's just be super clear on that. ROI is not the cost of the proposal. It's what the client gets. If it's a hotel, it's the hotel room that they can fix. If it's whatever it is, that's the return on investment. Making it measurable. And we talked about that. I think it was last week, right, David? Measurables? Yeah. Question number 3. Are we the right solution to solve the problems and create the desired outcomes? So, David, are you confident that we are the right solution to be able to help solve the problem that you're talking about, the water that's coming on the top floor, and to be able to help you get to your desired outcome, which is to be able to have that room rentable again? Are you confident in us in doing that?
You're going to be a yes or a no, or you're going to be able to figure out where their questions are, where their hesitation is, so you can address it.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. All right, cool. Let's unpack that. Do you have any other, is anybody else at the table maybe brought more confidence or maybe a different way of doing something? Let's unpack that. Let's talk about that. Because the last thing I want is to walk out of that room with uncertainty of what the future looks like. And it happens way too much as sales reps that we deliver the proposal or we email the proposal or we drop it off at the front desk and say, hey, give this to Tom. And then we wait for them to call us. And the part that really sucks, guys, is they never call us. We call them, right? We call them, we call them, we call them. We stop by, we shoot them another email, then we send them a calendar invite, right? Or whatever it is. And you never get no closure to it. And that right there is the entire reason that we do no reps left behind, because you have time, energy, and your company's money. And if you are following up with proposals that are not responding to you, if you are putting calls into people that are not responding to you, that is time and energy that you are wasting that can probably be applied to someone else that actually has a problem big enough that they're going to do something about it. Because if they're not acting, right, if they're not doing nothing about it, there's a fatality that's connecting them to them. And we'll go into 5 fatalities later, but this is the confirmation close. Anything you want to add to this, David? Or before we dive into buyer's action plan and start jumping through a couple recaps?
Just remember, guys, you advocates out there that are just, you don't really want to ask for the business. Well, you got to. Well, how do you do that? You do it like that. For drivers like me, we can ask for the business in a way that is it's too aggressive. It doesn't allow them to go through and make a logical decision that they're confident with. We put them under pressure. That's not good either. This is a way to just help guide them towards the best decision, which will then identify the gaps so that you can figure out, where were we misaligned? I thought you were going to be a heck yes. Why aren't you? Dang it. But you can figure that out. And this is the best self-coaching tool that you guys will ever see in sales, is your ability to go through this, figure out where you got misaligned, and go back and start making corrections on the very next opportunity that you're engaged with.
Now, I'm not going to say David and I couldn't be smarter. Okay. We definitely could. However, it only took us 30 years to be able to create the document that you're looking at right now. And that is the buyer's action plan, right? This is those 3 check boxes that we talk about. Checkpoint 1, do they need to act? You guys don't have to walk into a building and say, hey, is this problem big enough for you to act? We're giving you the questions. We went through this in the past 3-4 weeks, right? Giving you the questions that you need to ask in order to be able to get to a yes or a no. Eliminate the maybes. Checkpoint number 2, do they need new or outside help? Same thing. We have a set amount of questions that you ask to get you to a yes or no. Eliminate the maybes. And today, do we have the best solution? We're going to jump through that. And this is going to what's going to give you guys, okay, that buyer's action plan, and to understand how to qualify, or in my world, more importantly, disqualify, so you don't have a bunch of sludge just literally gumming up what you guys are doing. And your day is following up with proposals that are months old where they don't respond to you. And I keep saying that because I'm hoping that I'm turning like the knife in your guys' heart to be able to say, like, yeah, I do have like 60 proposals that are out there. Think about that. Why are they not awarding them? Is the problem not big enough? Do they have the resources to be able to do it themselves? What is it that's holding them back from actually moving forward? That's the fatality that ultimately is killing the deals. All right, so checkbox recap inside here, the perfect buyer's journey. Checkpoint number 1, do they need to act? There's 4 questions that are connected to this. Those 4 questions are, number 1, do they know why they actually scheduled the call? Why are they there? They took their time out of their day to be able to spend it with you. I'm not saying you're not a great person, but I'm saying typically people don't enjoy meeting with roofers on a Tuesday. Why are they there? Are the decision makers present? Which means just because you're talking to somebody doesn't mean that that's the individual that literally signs on the dotted line. There's questions to be able to ask, to be able to say, Are you responsible for finding the contractors? And are you responsible for executing and managing this project throughout? Or are there other people in the mix? Could be a board, could be a VP. It could depend on how much the dollar amount is for what the corporate structure is. Find it out. Their current reality, have they tried to solve this and failed? That's a huge, huge one. Don't go in there as Mr. Know-it-all, because if they've been trying to solve this problem inside the past and they've failed, you need to figure out why. Otherwise, you are going to fall hook, bait, and sinker to what everybody else has already failed or everybody else is already doing or done, which means you lost the job before you even started. Hear it out. Discovery is about learning, okay, not telling. And then finally, do they need to act? So 1 through 10, how big of a priority is this to you guys? Do you actually need to do something? And we gave you what that looks like, but this is all put together to be able to create a conversation, right? When I typically sit down with someone, they got a problem or a goal they're trying to solve. Which one is it for you guys, right? That's question number 1. So, and we go through each one of those. Perfect buyer journey or checkpoint number 2, do they actually need new or outside help, right? Diagnosing means that you're determining the potential problem that they're facing that aligns to what your company does well, right? And we're going through the diagnosis side, right? What's the gap? Are they aligned to the actual problems that need to be solved? So again, we talk about their perception as reality, the stained ceiling tiles. Who cares? Who cares if the stained ceiling tiles are there? Right? Who cares if there's water on the floor until you find out there's a slip fall hazard, until you find out a piece of cardboard, right? That cardboard roll's worth $20,000. Okay. Now I truly understand why you guys want to get this fixed, not just because it's ugly, not just because the paint's bubbling, but there's more behind it, right? There's mold issues or whatever else it might come. Are the expected outcomes enough to fund a solution, right? It's another great question to be able to say, hey, I've met with many people that say they want to replace their roof until I tell them a roof of this size is about $200,000. And there's literally like, wow, no, we don't have that kind of money. Or they say they want to replace the roof. And I say, have you budgeted for anything like this before? And they say no, right? Which leads us into the next question. How do they have an adequate budget to be able to create the outcomes they want? Someone tells me they want to replace the roof. That's great. What have you done to be able to prepare for a purchase like this? And it doesn't matter if it's a single roof leak or if it's a $250,000 purchase. It's the same thing. How do you guys buy? It's putting them in those buckets of being reactive or proactive. And then finally, do they have the internal resources to do this? So why don't you just do it yourself? It seems like you guys know everything. You guys know exactly what needs to happen. Why don't you guys just do it yourself? And trust me, they'll talk to you. They'll tell you, I don't want to do this because, or I can't do this because. They'll talk to you if you ask the right questions. But much like I said at the beginning, there are times where it's going to be awkward because you're not comfortable doing it. David mentioned the advocate, which is a personality style. And every time I think he's pointing his finger at me. I'm an advocate. A lot of times I naturally try to avoid situations that can be a conflict, right? And this isn't just inside business and sales. This is inside life. Like I'll avoid a conversation, right? If I can not say something to engage somebody or make someone upset, I'm just going to say, David, you look great today, rather than tell them, it's like, man, that shirt, I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But those are just general things, and it's okay. But you have to get okay asking the questions that you're uncomfortable with, because sometimes those are the variables that'll kill your deal. It's all the questions that you don't ask. It's all of the unknowns. It's all of the maybes. So if you're not asking the questions that truly matter, that is the void. That is the 2 degrees of separation that we talk about. That even though it might just be, there's one question, it's not a big deal, right, David? Well, the one question is, are you working with another contractor? And they are. They've been working with them for 10 years. And I'm a second or third bid because they plan on giving it to that guy, but corporate requires them to get 3 bids. Tell me how small that question is now. It's massive. So that takes us into checkpoint 3. David, do you want to take us through best solution, sir?
Do it. All right, guys. So when we're looking at our solution and how we're presenting it, it's not about just going in to the specifics of the report. Just isn't. They don't care about that. There's 3 steps that we want to be able to go through before we ever get into that to the vast majority of buyers. Okay. Now, to be clear, this is when we're working with new prospects and we're trying to bring in new clients. We're not telling you with the with the client that you've had for 3 years, that now every single time they have a leak proposal that you need to go through this process with them. We're talking about new people where we're trying to win their business here. The first thing that we want to go through is we want to talk through our proven results and our track record. Do we have an actual proven history of solving the problems that they're dealing with? That's the main question that they care about. Now, look at your own buying behavior. One of the examples that we use all the time is if you go on Amazon, you don't go through and read the product description first. You go through and you look at the number of stars. You look at their proven track record of actually solving the problem that you're looking to solve. And then for those that are 4 stars or higher, 4.2 stars or higher, then and only then do you go in and read the product description, because the product doesn't matter if it doesn't have a proven track record of solving problems. So as a company, we need to understand, what is our proven track record? What are the quantifiable results that we've been able to create in the market that we can say, look, we are very good at what we do. And this is our track record of doing it. All right, next one.
Back.
No, you're good. So ultimately, guys, it's why should they listen to us? No, yeah, you're good. Why should they listen to us? If they're just thinking in the back of their mind, yeah, I should not trust these guys, or they really have their crap together, I don't really know. Again, they're not paying attention. We need to give them a reason on why they should be listening to us as we're going to go through the entire presentation with them. We can't just expect it. We're not entitled. We're not entitled to their attention. We're not entitled to their time. All right. Once they understand that they should be listening to us because they've got problems that are causing pain and keeping them from outcomes, and we have a proven track record of solving those problems, then we can get into the next step. And clear solution, right? What is the process that we're going to go through to get them to the outcomes that they want? How do we clearly solve their problems? And guys, we're not even in the proposal yet. We're not in the fine print. We're not looking at pictures, guys. And we're going to go through, we'll show you the example of what we're talking about here. Okay. But we want to be able to connect the dots from problems to solution. How do we specifically solve their problems? What is our secret sauce? They shouldn't be buying a price. They should be buying our ability to solve their problem better than anybody else. And if you don't do that, then you're ultimately going to sell on price and you're not going to win very much, guys. And then you've got to make sure that you're connecting the dots. You got to make it clear. We talk about calorie burn all the time. If you force your prospects to burn a ton of calories, understanding how you're going to solve their problems, guess what? From a DNA level, from a chromosome level, we're not going to burn the calories, guys. We are made to preserve calories. We are made not to do complex things when they're not necessary. They're going to tune out and you're not going to have their attention. Okay. So once we've got an understanding of once we've gotten alignment and clarity on the fact that we have a proven track record of solving their problems, and we've gotten clear with them, speaking on their terms on how we're going to solve their problems, not a bunch of roofing jargon. Don't try to sound smart. The smartest people are the ones that are able to take a complex conversation and allow anybody to understand it. Go up one more real quick. Once we've connected the dots on a clear solution, then we can get into delivery and timelines. Now we want to put our prospect into the future. Here's what's going to be here's what's it's going to look like working with us. If you choose to move forward, boom. We're going to do this. Then we're going to do this. This is where we're going to make sure this is happening and make sure the site is clean, making sure that we're not creating any disruptions for you guys. And we're going to do this. And this is ultimately about when it's going to be done. Now, by the way, to be able to do that, I need to be able to organize my team. So as we go through this process, I want to make sure that I'm understanding where you're at. And if you're thinking about using us, I need to know that, whether or not you sign the contract or not, because I need to get our team organized. Bam. Now you've given them a whiff of what's in it for them to tell you that they're going to move forward before they sign the contract. Well, you're going to organize resources. You're going to get the team ready. I have to do that to make sure that once you do sign the contract, we're not already booked out. We don't have a backlog of 3 to 4 weeks, and now we can't get to you in a timely manner. You seed that then during delivery and timelines. Again, guys, this is so methodical, proactively overcoming the issues that we know come up in deals, and we talk to reps all the time when they come up in deals later when they're not leveraging this stuff. We're going
So
to say
the
something?
one, yeah, yeah, and I guess the one thing that you're talking about, right, as we go through delivering the milestones. So like raise of hands, right? I know I can't see you guys, but like how many times have you delivered a proposal for the customer to say, okay, when can you guys start? Or how long is this project going to take? Those are like super, super simple questions that most of the time sales reps are so worried about getting the proposal inside the customer's hands, thinking that they're just going to be so excited to be able to sign it that you don't have to try or you don't have to have these variables or details. And this is, to me, the number one issue I deal with when that transition from sales to operations. And I don't care if it's service sales to service operations or production, right? Whatever it is. Because as a sales rep, you're making a promise, right? You're setting the expectations for that customer. And the only ways that you guys are going to win long term is if your operational team produces it better than what you sold, right? Under promise, over deliver. That's what we're doing here. And when you talk about these different milestones, these are big variables because yes, you can get the piece of paper signed, but as soon as they said I needed this started last week, or school starts inside 3 weeks, it's got to be done. Now all of a sudden, sales isn't the good guy, sales is the bad guy. Sales is the guy that didn't communicate this. Sales is now the guy that overpromised. Sales is also the guy that's going to take it on the chin as soon as the job doesn't get done by the time it needs to get done. There's so much that goes into this, right? It's not just getting the contract signed, it's making sure that that what you're promising, right? That future vision, whatever you want to call it for that customer, is able to be there at the end and it's logical. So there's so much inside those delivery and timelines. So each one of these questions, much like we talked about all the other ones, it's a conversation. I'm not telling you to go inside there and robot and ask every single question exactly how it was written, right? Here's the proof that we're experts at solving your problems, right? I don't care if it's a roof leak. What makes you great at solving a roof leak? Because when someone tells me we do it all, the only thing it means to me is that we do a lot of stuff okay, or we do a lot of stuff good. But when someone says, I am an expert inside solving roof leaks, and we've solved over 10,000 roof leaks this year in the North Carolina region, whatever it is, right? Now you guys have something to be able to stand behind to say, we're an expert inside extending the life of existing roofs. That gives you guys the ability to be an expert, not a general contractor, right? And here's what we do to solve your problem. Here's the special sauce that we have, right? There's something unique that we do, and I'm going to tell you what it is. That way, it doesn't make it hard for you to be able to choose the right contractor. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. And then finally, here's how it's going to go, and here's how we're going to go about solving the problem, right? Here's how you can expect once this contract is signed. And I've gone as far as that when I deliver proposals, I show up with start dates, especially on a service side that has a quick turnaround, right? Where we don't have to special order materials or anything like that. I got a gap in the schedule next Thursday that I can get you guys in. Are we ready to move forward? Right? I'm taking this and not only delivering a solution to them, but I'm also giving them a timeline as of today. Now, I'm not telling you that's what you guys need to do, but you should be proactive enough to know that information. This is not about getting a proposal inside your client's hands. It's about helping them solve a problem or reach a goal that they can't get to on their own. So keep that inside your mind. If you're getting proposals, this is not about just slinging proposals, get it inside their hands so you can mark it as quoted inside the CRM and not get your ass chewed for not quoting enough jobs on Monday. I would much rather hold that proposal until Monday, maybe get the ass chewing either way, but sell it on Tuesday than to shoot the email out and try to follow up with them. You know what I'm talking about, David, right? Do it right. Do it once. Do it right, guys. If you want a good close ratio, if you want a nice high close ratio, I'm going to give you a hint. Don't quote every job. Because when you quote every single job, the only thing it's going to do is it's going to lower your close ratio because you're going to have to do it faster. You're going to have to do it with less accuracy. You're probably going to bypass a few of the checkpoints because you know what? This guy needed a quote and he needed it by Tuesday because he's awarding it by Wednesday. So I'm just going to hurry up and get it over to him. And when you start bypassing those checkpoints, it just gets worse, guys. It just gets worse. So if you have to ask for the sale, you've already lost it. And I want you guys to keep that inside your mind. Don't talk to me about the one-off where it's like, no, 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 no. I called the guy last week and I said, are you ready to do this? And he said, yes. I get it. You're going to have the one-offs. But I'm telling you, the methodology that you need to have inside your head is that when you show up, there should be no questions. There shouldn't be a question of, is the problem big enough that they're going to do something about it? There shouldn't be a question of if he's going to do it himself or if he's going to go back with his existing contractor. Because if he's getting bids from the other contractors and it's not simply to make corporate happy, you guys have an opportunity to fix a failure, a mistake, a hiccup, whatever, a trip, whatever you want to call it. Right. So we need to be able to execute on those things and make sure that that's part of the secret sauce, right, that we deliver. So if you have to ask for the sale, you guys have already lost it. Solutions are delivered like this. And this is what I would say is probably the most common way. Number one, you're going to print it out and you're going to hand it to them. And the problem that I have with this, I know we don't have a lot of time left, but the problem that I have with this, guys, is that we did all of this beautiful discovery to be able to figure out, here's the problem he has, here's the ROI of all of it, all of this different stuff that you did. And if you don't do a good demonstration of what makes you guys great, right? You just bypass it and just deliver the proposal. What you give them is a whole bunch of jargon that they probably don't know. And that's what puts us right back to where we started, which is what's the difference between a 60 mil and a 45 mil? What's the difference between a 20-year NDL and a 15 NDL? Your client doesn't know that. Typically doesn't know that, right? So don't show up and just deliver a proposal that's going to get lost inside someone's desk. Don't shoot an email over, right? And think that, oh, they read it because I got a read receipt on it, that all of a sudden you got a good deal now. Take the time, meet with the customer, and go through what I would consider really, really good demonstration, right? So you can either be showing up inside the 1990 Ford F-150, right? We can go a little bit better and jump inside a new Ford. You guys can show up and actually impress. You guys can actually take this, right? Take the presentation, take all the work that you did, and you can do it in a way that is completely new, right? That is completely shiny. And the number one thing I'll say is it takes all the noise away. That's the biggest reason that I'm telling you guys, you cannot go into just delivering the proposal to the front desk. You cannot go and just deliver the email because the email is going to get caught inside 50 other emails. And that piece of paper is probably going to get crumpled up, left on the desk, and possibly lost, right? Or just shuffled in inside the folder, manila folder that has all the roofing proposals in it. And you guys lose all of that value, all of the work that you guys have done, you lose, right? So you guys can avoid that commodity path. You don't have to be inside one of those two. And what I'm going to show you guys is ultimately what I consider a workspace. And a workspace is ultimately, we already talked about the questions that you have to ask, is putting it inside a way so the customer, right, has something that they can view, have something that can allow them to be able to see what we call a problem canvas, okay? A problem canvas is ultimately a nice, presentable way to be able to ultimately have complete alignment with your customer. Because each question that you ask, there's a reason that you're asking that question, right? The objective, which is, why did you schedule the meeting? That was the first question you asked, right? Scheduled the meeting ultimately because the hospital has had roof leaks for over 2 years and they haven't done anything because they couldn't have new contractors coming in because of COVID precautions. That's real. Is that still the same? Is that still the same as when we first met, David? Yeah, it is. Okay. And you're responsible for getting the building leak free, but I know you got to take it to a board, right? So we got to make sure that this proposal's really, really perfect. So when you hand it over to them, they don't have any questions. Is there anything unique that the board's going to want to look at in this proposal? Right? I'm sitting on the same side of the table as David. We're working together on this. And again, I tell you, from the time that you present to the time that you deliver the proposal, that can be weeks or even months apart. You need some type of problem canvas. You need something that's going to help you align yourself to the customer and make sure that their reality has not changed from the first or last time that you met with them. Massive, massive part of getting the stuff together. So when we talk about putting together a real workspace, it looks something like this. I'm going to show you just a sample here. So this is an actual workspace that I built. This was for Dallas Regional Medical Center. And as we scroll down, you'll see the first thing that we always talked about was the problem canvas. And the problem canvas is ultimately just a recap of the real questions that we asked. He really had to go to the board. Current reality is that they haven't done anything. He sent his guys up there to go do repairs for the last 2 years because they wouldn't let outside contractors into the building because they were literally on lockdown because of COVID. Right? What's the pain is that the surgery rooms are not operable, which means they can't have people in the surgery room. Like, that's insane. And I kept going down the path of probing, right? But what does that mean? Well, it means they can't do surgery, which means they got to transfer them to a different hospital, which means they're at capacity quicker, which means the hospital is losing opportunities for the doctors, which means the doctors might have to go to a different hospital to be able to get all of the surgeries that they need done. Like, this is a big issue. This isn't just they wouldn't let anybody up on the roof. This is talking about the surgery rooms of a hospital, a massive hospital in the DFW Metro, not being open. So what we did is we put together, again, priority level ability. There was a short video that I had available that talked about the workspace. But what we did is we put together what is a solution roadmap. And that solution roadmap allowed sales reps to have absolute consistency on how they presented. Right now, this solution was specifically for roof leaks. And it doesn't matter if I read this or if you read this, it's exactly the same. Now I can add stuff to it, but guess what? We promise to fix your leaks so you can focus on what matters. Now think about that. I'm saying that to the customer based upon what his objective is, right? Based upon what his pain is. I'm going to fix the roof leak so you can focus on having surgery inside your hospital. That's what I'm saying. Right? We exist because 3 reasons. Facility managers tolerate roof leaks, and I think it's insane. Construction sucks in customer experience, and the roof is one of the primary assets, right? It's security. It keeps the wind, the water, the rain, all the different elements out. So it's really, really important, especially in a business like a hospital. So people that work with us typically see fewer leaks, less disruptions. We help them get budgets that actually work, and they have peace of mind through control of the budget. Now, I'm not saying anything right now that you guys aren't reading yourself. Having something defined like this, much like David said, that playbook, right? He's not playing an open gym. Anybody that we're proposing repairs and maintenance for leaks has this proposal. You can't screw this up. So when we talk about consistency, when we talk about having a very unique way of saying, why am I the best? Well, because we fixed over 1,800 leaks in 2021. Right? I got a 99.5% six, so, or 99.56%, we fixed leaks the first time. This isn't an accident. This doesn't happen by chance. We have a special sauce. Fix it fast, fix it right, fix it for life. And then we drop down into those things and explain it. But again, it doesn't matter if I read it. It doesn't matter if the customer reads it. It's a defined presentation that'll allow you guys to be able to understand where success comes from, what the steps forward are. And guess what? At the end of this, we have 3 questions that I need to ask. I know it's a little bit misaligned here. We have 3 questions that we need to ask. Are we still aligned to the actual problems causing the current pain? If not, go to the top and figure out what's wrong. Is everyone still aligned to the expected outcomes? Is the ROI still efficient? Is those surgery rooms still worth it to you guys to get them fixed? Yes or no? And then based upon what I showed you guys, that 99.5% of leaks to be fixed, do you guys think that we're the right solution to fix these problems and help you get those surgery rooms back open, your desired outcome? This allows you guys to have extreme consistency. So if you want to break through the noise, if you want to be different than an email, if you want to be different than leaving a piece of paper on someone's desk, you need to be able to have a consistent presentation. And I don't care if you have 1 salesman or 10 salesmen, you guys need to understand what works. Okay. It's the first part. Second part is you have to have a way to be able to go back into what we call the problem canvas and bring this stuff up. Again, I'm not telling you guys to reinvent this. I'm not telling you to go to code something. All of this is available to you guys. So if you want to start testing what we have here, and it's not even testing, it's called using, because it's being used by contractors throughout the US right now. You're asking the right questions. We have the ability to put it inside a workspace that will allow you guys to be able to differentiate yourself and show up and show the customer that you're helping them solve the problems that matter to them, that's keeping them from the important outcomes. David, I know we're right at time. Anything you want to add at the end of this, sir?
Guys, story moves people. We put together their narrative here, and then we put together how we're going to resolve that tension in the solution roadmap. And this, using this narrative, it's very different than what everybody else is doing to them, throwing a price over, guys. But it speaks to what they want and what they're looking for, which they're the hero of their story, and they just want to get to better outcomes. And you can be the guy to help them do that. Use this stuff. You don't have to use all of it, guys, but use the stuff each week. Take 2 or 3 things away that we're talking to you about and start using it. Every single week, if you're implementing just a couple of things that we're talking about here, you're going to get better. You're going to get better. Don't be overwhelmed. But like we said, you guys have to implement it. You guys have to start taking action on this stuff. If not, one of the 5 fatalities or multiple of the 5 fatalities is going to get you. And your deals are you're going to be losing deals that you shouldn't be getting. And you're going to be getting results that you should not, or that you're much better than, and that's ultimately decreasing commissions and everything else. We don't want that for you guys. We want you guys to thrive.
All right. Thank you, guys. Much like David said, use this. I know sometimes asking new questions and following a process is going to be awkward. It's okay. Use it, because the only thing you're going to get from doing exactly what you're doing right now is the exact results that you have. So go kill it, guys. Thank you for everybody joining, and see you next week, guys. Later.
Thanks, guys.